Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today we have Erika joining us.
Hi, Amanda. Erika. How are you?
I'm amazing, guys. We have an exciting video. Today we're going to talk about how to take somebody off of a pedestal. So first of all, let's go over what it means to have someone on a pedestal. So to have someone on a pedestal is to think of someone as perfect with no flaws and to admire them greatly, put them up on that, big high pedestal. And, that's not a problem because everyone is us pushed out. We should be thinking good things of the people that we want to be with to get good things back. But it's when we don't think that we're good enough to have that, right? That we think they're so great, but we don't deserve to have it, right? Actually, Erika explained it perfectly earlier, just before we started this video.
Absolutely. So how I see it is, with the love assumption, right? You can assume that they're, that, for example, a specific person, you can assume that person is lovely, they're respectful, they're kind, right? All the good qualities. It's good. That's awesome because you're going to benefit from those positive assumptions, but you have to also believe that you're good enough to have it, right? And that's why I like to work on that self-concept of I am someone that is loved, valued, respected. I'm a great catch. I'm sexy. I'm wonderful. I'm funny, right? I am good enough to have that wonderful person, right? But a lot of people think, oh my gosh, he's amazing. He's so sexy. But I don't think he likes me because I don't think I'm good enough. So that's why it's super important to work on that self-concept of I am good enough to have that wonderful person or that wonderful job or to have more than enough money in the bank, right? We can apply it on every area of our lives, right?
Exactly. And that's like my magic word, for me was I'm good enough to have this.
Right.
I'm good enough to have good healthcare. I'm good enough to have an amazing boyfriend. I'm good enough to live in a gorgeous, house. I'm good enough to have good relationships, and and that brings you up to that level. And when we bring ourselves up to that level, it's not like we take the person off the pedestal, but we bring ourselves up there and we say, no, I'm good enough to have that. Yeah, he's amazing and he's everything that I want and I'm good enough. I deserve it. I can have it. So you pretty much nailed it with the self-concept. I mean, that's so important to create what you are. Now, you don't have to use a statement, I'm good enough. That's just my key phrase. I love it. Some people don't resonate with it. So, I mean, you're perfect, whole and complete. People sometimes say that, or I deserve to have this, or I can have what I want.
I love it. No, I implemented that for myself. I love it because it really resonates with me. Like I'm good enough to have whatever it is, right? To have, like I said, the job, the person, friends, be healthy or whatever it is you want. You're good enough to have it all. Like there's no limits to what you can have, right?
Yeah. And what, I'll tell you, whenever something isn't working in my life to create something, all I say is I'm good enough to have, and then I state the thing that I'm looking to create. And it's like magic. Like it just happens. Most of that is like always my block, right? I want something so bad, but it's a little bit out of my reach. But then all I say is I'm good enough to have it. And then all of a sudden I'm even blown away that it shows up so quickly. I'm like, what? It really is the magic word. And so guys, if you're stuck with anything, whatever it is, say I'm good enough and then state what it is that you want and keep doing that like throughout the day for a few days and along with your other intentions and start to see it show up. Like it really is the biggest breakthrough.
Exactly. One that I love using is I am the woman that has it all, meaning there's an abundance of everything in my life. There's no lack, right? I think this universe is abundant, but we create lack out of, thoughts that are lack, right? But I believe that in reality, this is an abundant universe. So when I say I am the woman that has it all, meaning I have all the love, all the money, all the friends, all whatever it is I want, because, I want to believe that there's an abundance of everything, right?
Yeah, that's that, you've nailed it. That's the other magic word that I have is I'm always, whatever I'm creating, I'm like, there's an abundance of. That's my other one. It's like good enough and there's an abundance.
Exactly. Another one that I love too. I am a strong magnet of everything I love, want, and desire. And to me, it's like, okay, if I love someone, that person loves me 10 times more or whatever. Or if I want money, that money wants to be in my life. Or if I believe that I am a strong magnet of whatever it is that I want in my life. Boom.
Exactly.
Get it right away.
A lot of good intentions in this video. That's really good. That's really good. No, I love that. And actually one thing that I had a thought on is, with our relationships, we create them, and we create as close as we're going to be to the person, or as far in distance as we're going to be to the person, right? So, I mean, if you want like a romantic and close connection in a relationship, say I'm good enough to have a romantic and close connection in a relationship. This is what's going to start happening, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, I have an affirmation that is also wonderful. I believe it's super powerful. Is I am God of my reality, and I am in complete control over absolutely everything and everyone. And what that means to me is that, I'm in control of everything and everyone, because I'm assuming the best of every person in every situation in my life, right?
Exactly. And, I mean, the trick is too, right? Even if you're not assuming the best of everybody, just take responsibility for what has shown up.
Oh, absolutely. But I believe when someone's showing up in your life, you're like, I don't really like it. All I have to do really is to change that as my assumption about that person, and that person is going to change.
Exactly that. So, I mean, yeah, it's really what it comes down to is making those assumptions for them to change, and believing they can. I can't stress that enough. The first question about recreating somebody is, do you believe that they can change? That is so incredibly important. Do you believe that they can change their mind? Because you create whether they do or they don't, right? And if you're open and say, no, you know what, they can change their mind anytime, and in fact they are, then you're actually creating it. But if you create, no, they're stubborn, they're not going to change their mind, then guess what? They're going to be stubborn and not change their mind. I'll tell you guys something. So my other channel, Jerry's Adventures, is a vlog channel that I have with Andrew. And when I first pitched the idea to him, he wasn't interested in doing it. He really wasn't. He wanted nothing to do with being on the internet, on my YouTube channel, right? And then so I was like, yeah, well, that's nice. And I kept intending. And then one day he was like, yeah, let's do this together. I was like, okay, great. We went and bought a camera. So, but I was always open. I'm like, he'll get used to the idea, he'll change his mind. And sure enough, he did. So, and if you guys watch that channel, I'll link in the description below. Like, you'll see, he absolutely loves it. In fact, he loves showing people plaques. And I'm like, no, people don't like plaques, right? But, it's a lot of fun, now that he's changed his mind, but it's possible. Mm-hmm. But again, right, the biggest thing is where to start is believing it's possible that they could possibly change their mind, right? That's the biggest thing, is seeing them open to being able to change, right?
Absolutely. You said something super important. It's all about your beliefs. If you believe you can have it, you're going to have it. If you believe that you can't have it, then you're not going to have it. So why not believe that you can have it so you can actually have it, right?
Exactly, right? And, the thing is, right, is the beautiful thing about life is things never end. Actually, I was just telling Erika a story, before this. And what I mean things never end is it's endless. You can do whatever you want with it, even to this, okay? And I was just laughing at my power this morning. So I'm sitting here, right, working away, and I thought about yesterday. So yesterday I was in the kitchen, and I saw in the sink there was a glass, and it was Andrew's beer glass, and I saw it. And for some reason I thought, oh, that's going to break. It's going to break. And then I just walked away. Like, there was nothing wrong with it. It was sitting there in the dishes, like, nicely. Like, there was no reason why it would break. But I was like, it's going to break for some reason. And then sure enough, a couple hours later, I heard Andrew making, like, being upset in the kitchen. I'm like, what happened? He's like, my beer glass broke. Right? So, these things, like, and I was like, wow. I'm like, everything's constantly overhearing me, because that glass was sitting there so perfectly, no reason to break, okay? Like, seriously, like, no, it's never broken before. I don't know why I thought it, I just did. And then sure enough, it happened. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, everything is overhearing my thoughts constantly. Like, I've got the power to do that. What else, do I have the power to do, right? Well, you have the power to call in trillions of dollars, to have wonderful relationships, to have the relationship that you want, to live in the mansion, to have the business you want or the job you want. In fact, you can even make up a job that doesn't even exist, because you have the power to do that, and that's just the thing, is it's endless. You can do anything you want, right? As long as you believe,
Absolutely. Yeah, when we recognize that we're the cause of everything in our lives, then, I believe that it's fun to know, okay, if I'm the cause of everything, whatever it is I manifested that I don't like is just my evidence that I created it. Let's just change it. Do I want to keep having the same thing that I don't really like? Well, let's just change the story, right?
Right. And one thing, I want to clarify, because I just heard a bunch of comments in my head and voices of, Amanda, you said you don't need to believe this. Well, you're right. You don't need to believe. I didn't, when I thought, oh, that beer glass is going to break, I didn't believe it, but I believe my thoughts create, right? And that's the main thing, is that you do have to have belief in that. You can't have this thought, oh, you know what, I intend to be a billionaire, but I don't believe this will work. You can't have that thought. Okay, so I intend to be a billionaire. Okay, I believe my thoughts create. Now, do I believe specifically I'm going to make it? Well, I don't know. No, not really. I don't feel like I have it. I can't get into that mood, right? But I do believe my thoughts create. So we mentioned this before. How you get into feeling like you have it is just by stating it. I'm a billionaire. I intend to be a billionaire. Saying that is enough to call the feeling into your body. So that's how you feel like you have it. You start stating that you have it. You start intending that you have it. And that will actually end up creating it. So, you don't have to believe that you are going to get to a billion. I mean, I've made many goals throughout the last couple of years that I've reached that I'm always like, Andrew's like, why are you so excited? You knew you were going to do it. And I'm like, no, I didn't know I was going to do it. I did it. He's like, oh, come on. Like, like seriously, but like I basically just bought a new house and I'm excited. He's like, oh, you knew. And I'm like, no, I'm surprised. He's like, oh, He's like, you do this all the time, right? So like, you create. But I didn't believe that I would specifically get that, but I did, right? But I knew my thoughts created, and I didn't doubt for a minute that my thoughts created, right? So that's the balance, is you can't have that, we're not saying you have to, in your head, like actually self-talk, disbelieve your thoughts create and you're still going to get it. No, that's not how this works. You don't have to specifically believe you are going to get that match, right? So.
Absolutely. Now, something that I've noticed in my life is when I manifest things really fast is when I just say, oh, that's what I want. And I just say it, right? And it manifests. What I'm not doing is I'm not questioning it. I'm not saying, yeah, right, that's never going to happen because A, B, C, and D, which, I mean, you told me that a long time ago, and it really, got stuck here. Don't question the situation, because when we question it, kind of stopping it.
That's right. That's right. Questioning is a huge block, right? Questioning is like, look, I'm going to get this. It's happening now. And then creating it to happen. Like this morning, I was creating something at the last minute and I was like, no, there's enough time. It's going to happen now. And all of a sudden, boom, came in like a whirlwind, I went from doing nothing this morning to being really busy, but that's okay. That's what happens when you create and you intend something and it manifests. It happens quickly. So I love it. I got that from you, Erika. It's happening now.
Happening now. I don't want to wait forever, right?
Exactly. So guys, you really want to speed up your manifesting and taking things off of a pedestal. What you want to do is you want to start saying, I'm good enough to have this. And like Erika says, work on your self-concept. Okay. I'm wonderful. I'm perfect. I always get what I want. Start working on who you are and how the universe is going to respond to you. Create that list of, basically parameters that you're going to start, that the universe is going to start following, because you do have a relationship with how your beliefs and how you create. So work on that. And to take something off of a pedestal, it's I am good enough, state what you want. And yeah, definitely. And all the other great tidbits that we put in here. Thank you, Erika.
Thank you, Amanda. And thanks everybody for listening.
Amazing, right? And Erika is available for coaching sessions and she is having a discount. So definitely check out the link in the description below. And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.